Howdy y'all, old Buster coming to you again. We got another little story called Accidents. I just want to tell you I appreciate y'all dropping by to see us. If you ever need anything, just write us at bustertheboys@yahoo.com and we'll be glad to answer you and any questions or send you some things if you need it. I want to say howdy to the boys out there. They're all back home with their families and everything. And don't get to see them much as we used to since we got older, but these little stories kind of bring us closer together. Well, this little story is accidents. Well, Buster had him a motor scooter accident on his Sears All-State motor scooter is what it was. When he hit the plumber, old man J.B. Locke, in the side of his 58 four-door sedan Ford. It was a green and white one. Well, you see, Buster was going over to this here feller's house for a visit, and it ain't recollected who was at fault there at this accident. All is know that it conked Buster's aid hard enough to dent the entire side of that Ford. Throwed Buster higher than a Georgia pine, I tell you. The ambulance took Buster off to the hospital where they had him covered up with a white sheet. Well, Buster could hear all them folks a-talking and a-working on him, but he just couldn't say nothing. He knowed he tweren't hurt none, but he just couldn't get on up from there. That dang stretcher was real uncomfortable like though. It done tore up his motor scooter something pitiful, and Buster was put in mind of being right fractious about that. He done worked hard to earn enough money to buy it, and now it was busted up real good. He rolled and throwed many a paper for it for sure now. Whilst Buster was a-layin' there, some fellers come by and says the doctor was a-comin' with Buster's mama. She was a-working out at Knowles Cleaners for some extra hard cash, and they had to get her from down there. Well, Buster knowed when his mama and the doc come in the room and was a-trying to hear what they was a-sayin', but they was a-talking low like. Well, all of a sudden, Buster's mama started to a-bawlin' like a sick calf. The doc says, "He's dead." Well, Buster would have none of that now, I'm telling you. He sits straight up and hollers, "Mama, I ain't dead." Well, his and Mama and the doc both like to passed out right then and there. Well, after everybody got theirselves together and all, Buster told them that he could hear everything but just couldn't talk none. The doc checked Buster over and upside down and couldn't find a thing wrong with him neither. Of course, it got all over Prairie and Arkansas counties that Buster done expired and a miracle done raised him from the dead. It just might have been a miracle, but Buster never knowed nothing but he couldn't talk to nobody. Wasn't hurt a bit, not even a scratch. Reckon after Buster studied on it a spell, it was a miracle, 'cause he wasn't hurt not one whit. The Lord done sent a guardian angel for him that day, 'cause it was something else that he wasn't killed. It would have killed a regular man. Them fellers that come by to tell him the doctor was a-comin' was with his and Mama had to have been angels. Another time Buster was a-comin' in late and his grandma's Ford he borrowed. He done went over to the college at Conway to visit some fellers from back home. Well, now, there was a little party going on, but Buster didn't have but a snort or two of that old McBrayer, 'cause he had to get on back for work at the farm. Didn't figure on sleeping much and would probably see old Chicken James coming on in the morning, and he always had a little half pint or so in the back of them overalls. Well, old Chicken always had a half pint, like I say, in his overalls, you know. And Buster was sober as a judge when he lit out for home. He set that old Ford to sail and let her bump now. He skinned her back and she was a-running fine. Got up to about 130 when he began to shutting her down. There was some badass curves at Keogh at the turn off to the farm. Buster was kind of tired and just dozed a mite when he hit them curves. Missed the first bend and went into the bar ditch. Rolled her 5 times and he didn't have no seatbelt on neither. Come to find out, if and he did, he'd have been deader than a doornail. Throwed Buster up under the back seat and pinned him there till she quit a-rolling. Well, Buster didn't get a scratch from that neither. But when he come to a stop, he crawled out and a feller he knowed drove by and looked in on him to see if and he was hurt. Oh, Buster told him no, but he needed to ride to town. It was 5 miles to the house and Buster wasn't in no mood for a walking. The one thing he was worried about most wasn't Grandma's Ford, but his and losing the rest of that quart of old McBrayer he took with him to the party. Some more of them angels was a-doing double duty of working overtime again, he reckoned. Then there was a time he was a racing stock cars at the Benton Speed Bowl. Buster was a running a 55 and a 56 Ford that he'd souped up. Them Chevys was, fast all right, but Buster's Ford was too. Buster was a coming in out of turn 2 when another feller got a mite close and sent him over the wall. It's a berm. Flipped her a couple, 3 times before she come to rest and only skun up under Buster's thumbnail where it bled a bit. Buster's mama was in the grandstands watching him race, and she liked to have had a hard spell and it scared her so much. Said she wasn't never going to come see Buster race again. Her heart just couldn't take it. Oh, Buster says now, Mama. No, Mama, it ain't nothing. Thought she was going to whack him for a minute, but she just hugged him and told him to be careful like. Well, Buster cranked her up for the next race and was going to race that 7 car again. That boy in that Chevy could drive, I tell you, and his car was real fast. They come off the starting line with that 7 car in the lead, but not by much. They had 10 laps to the finish line. They was a swapping the lead and lapping cars and a bumping each other till the last turn. Turn 4, and then the home stretch. They was in a dead heat coming out of turn 4, and Buster and that old boy in car 7 was a pouring the cold to 'em now. Right before they hit the finish line, car 7 and Buster's double O tangled. For some reason, car 7 pulled hard to the right, but Buster wouldn't give an inch. He just shoved that pedal to the metal and give her all she got, cotted it to her. Well, what a sight to see at the finish line. Car 7 got caught in the left front fender of Buster's Ford. With them hung up that way, Buster crossed the finish line a pulling car 7 with him, one by a nose. There was a time when Buster was up in Kentucky by Uncle Joe and Aunt Moni's place there in Tipton Holler. Them mountains had some tricky turns, Buster was in a 62 Chevy he got off of his and Grandma when he went off to the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville after he got out to service. She was a little 283 V8 white 4-door sedan with 3-bar checkerboard spinners and lake pipes. If that car could talk. She'd have some stories to tell for sure and not a tall tale amongst them. There was a time them fellers that stabbed him in a tussle and set a fire to her flooded the whole inside to put her out. Then there was the time Buster was out for a little ride and he done drove across the creek. Got a little deep and drowned out. Well, there sat Buster with a wooden case of small cokes and mixed that old McBrayer with the water up to his chest. He had both windows open and the water just flowed right on through. Every once in a while one of them cokes would float by and Buster'd have him a little drink. He got drunker than a Cooter Brown just a sitting there with the water running over him in the driver's seat. Awful glad it was summertime. A farmer on his tractor come by and pulled him out, changed the oil and cranked her up and lit out for a hot date. That Chevy had her swimming lessons, I tell you. Anyhow, Buster had to take over some eggs, several dozen he recollected, from his and Aunt May's. They're outside of Beattyville. Well, Buster didn't know them roads, but he was a darn good driver now. He come up on a curve that doubled back and he plumb run off the mountain. Buster called his and Uncle Roscoe to come pull him out. Well, when he got to Uncle Joe's place and looked in the trunk, he expected to see eggs every which place, but lo and behold, not one egg was even broke. Not a crack. Well, that curve just didn't sit right. Didn't sit right at all with Buster, so he up and lights out to just see how fast he could make her. He went into her about 40 miles an hour, with it being about a 15 mile an hour curve according to the sign. Well, Buster braked hard and then gave her the gas, set her up on 2 wheels, and then set her back down after he come out the curve and lit a shuck for town, just a grinning. That boy could drive now. Then there was a time all the boys was swimming in a reservoir out by the Oliver place. They up and decided they'd swim across to the other side. Well, Buster got about halfway across it, done got the cramps, and just couldn't swim another lick. He'd about to drown. Then something just up and got him up and helped him the rest of the way. Buster just knowed them angels was a-working overtime, but didn't know why he was blessed that way. Reckon the Lord seen something in him that he needed saving, I reckon. Now that brings to mind some of Buster's friends' accidents and some of their siblings too. Now Walter's sisters is pretty a gals you ever want to meet and twice as sweet, and they ain't mentioned much except for being courting and all. But for sure they get into a pickle or two themselves. Well, Walter's folks had a Chrysler station wagon car, and the gals took it one night without the folks knowing it. Not only did they take the car, but went out of town letting the feller drive it. They was a hightail that crossed from them Texas plains when they come up on a cattle guard and slid into it sideways when the feller braked too hard. Wrapped that Chrysler car plumb around that tie corner post. Wonder they wasn't all killed. Then Walter and his brothers cut off the top of that old Chrysler station wagon and made a sand buggy out of it. It run all right, but tracked a little east to west cause the frame was all warped like you know. The brothers used it for hunting too, and one day whilst out hunting they got to chasing a coyote. Walter give her the gas and was running after that coyote hot and heavy when he hit a buffalo waller. Knocked the wind out of all them boys and threw them that was on top out the buggy, guns and all. Fact is, one of them guns was stuck straight up in the ground like somebody chunked a spear or something. Believe that was about the end of that Chrysler. Well, Melvin and Walter was in an old Dodge that Melvin had and was just about blocked from the house when Melvin took to a waving at a feller he knowed. Danged if he didn't run smack dap into a concrete culvert. Put Walter's head plumb through the windshield, but only scun him up a mite. He's too contrary for anything else. That was the end of that Dodge too. Reckon a car didn't stand a chance with the Ollinger gals and the brothers. Now talk about guardian angels, them Ollinger boys and girls had a few working for them too. Now Jesse and Hired had their share of accidents too, but it plumb tuckers a feller out remembering them boys' shenanigans, I tell you. We'll ride on them some after a bit, but danged if I can see how a tree can run up out of the front yard and hit your dollar van. Ain't that a sight? Well, this old Buster signing out to you. Y'all have a good day. Blessed day at that.